Yeah, so this is gonna go on for some time.
That's it. Come on.
I don't know how much more I can, commentate on. Should we talk about architecture again? Go back and talk about architecture? I mean, I've said it before. Like, each city has less variety than we see in one human city in the real world. And I mean, that cutscene at the end of that last mission where, Esteban and Vega were flying around in the sky car
Nice.
ahead of the Normandy, and all the buildings on the Citadel were just identical copies. They just cut and pasted the same building literally several thousand times, and that was it. That's so lazy. I mean, basically what the game developers are doing
40. Nice.
is that they're betting that none of you guys pay enough attention to the architecture for it to be worth their while designing good architecture. And I guess this is like the opposite of what Valve does. In the sense that what do you? I mean, if you have, a limited budget with limited time, what do you spend your time and money on? And clearly, Bioware has decided we're not gonna spend it on interesting buildings, right? We're gonna spend it on level design. We're not gonna spend it on architecture, right?
Got a front row seat to the gun show.
So if you remember, like, if you kind of look in the levels where we go around shooting at enemies and then looking for loot, like there's a lot of detail there. There's a lot of furniture, a lot of clutter, like tables and chairs and computers and books and whatnot and windows. So at that level, there's a whole lot of detail, which is good. I mean, it's interesting. It keeps things interesting.
Keep it up, amigo.
But at the city scale, there's not very much stuff to look at. Like, there's a lot of copy and paste. It's not very interesting. And Bioware is betting that the players won't mind. Whereas in the first game,
That's 60. High five.
20.
in the first game there was a lot of cut and paste at the level scale, right? Remember all the side quests where it was basically the same warehouse copy and pasted over and over again. And at that level, it's really noticeable to most gamers. And that was a problem there. There wasn't very good quality, game design in that sense. So they decided to, put more detail and more variety at the level scale, and then just copy and paste at the city scale. Did you guys notice? If I don't point it out, do you think you guys would have noticed? To be honest, I didn't notice. This is my third time through this game, and the last two times I played through the Citadel DLC.
Make it burn.
I mean, I didn't really notice that we were flying through a cut and paste city, because I was paying attention to the sky car, paying attention to the Normandy, paying attention to the people. Wasn't really paying attention to the buildings going past. But now that I've noticed it, it's really noticeable. And Bethesda with the Elder Scrolls series, they've done similar things. Like in Morrowind, they had really interesting architecture that reflected the story and the culture that they were trying to portray. In Oblivion, they didn't. In Oblivion, like, all the cities and all the houses were pretty much the same,
Don't lose your focus.
with a few cosmetic differences. And then in Skyrim, they brought it back a little bit, but still there wasn't as much variety. Actually, I need to make videos of that, don't I? Architecture of Skyrim. Anyway, there wasn't as much variety in the architecture in Skyrim as there was in Morrowind. Actually, let me take that back. I'm gonna take that back. There's more variety. Oh crap. Okay, doesn't matter if you press the wrong button. So that there's
That's halfway to my record.
Great.
there's more stuff and more variety, but it didn't tie in as closely into the story and into the lore as it did back in Morrowind. So, I mean, in terms of Bethesda, I guess they decided, oh well, they made Morrowind, and then they looked at it and think, oh, maybe the players didn't notice all the stuff we put in, and they didn't do it in Oblivion. And then they looked at it and said, well, maybe okay, maybe they do notice, because people, I mean, a lot of the real,
100. That's impressive.
I am impressive.
Thanks.
Just 82 to go.
Yeah, 82. So I think some of the hardcore fans of the series said that, Oblivion wasn't as interesting as Morrowind in terms of story and lore and architecture and artwork and design and things like that. Like, Morrowind has something special about it. Like, there was something kind of quite special. Even if people didn't really, or they couldn't entirely, put their finger on what exactly it was about Morrowind that made it so special. There was something about the way everything tied in together, right? Which wasn't in Oblivion. And I think some people said that, like some of the fans actually kind of said that and said, well, you didn't do what you did back in Morrowind, in Oblivion. And so they tried to do a bit more in Skyrim. So in Skyrim, the cities,
You go, Commander.
like the cities in Skyrim are more different from each other than the cities in Oblivion, which is a good step forward, I think. So, in terms of that story, or in terms of that history, you have a developer trying to prioritize, how to spend their time and money, right? Do we spend money on an architect or not? Like, how much money do we spend on architects? And I guess they're still figuring it out, trying to find a good balance. And here in Mass Effect, they really, really decided. And I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, if, as I said all along, like, what's the true strength of the Mass Effect series? Throughout the 3 games, story and characterization has been the best, feature of the Mass Effect series. The story writing and the way the people's personalities are written and designed and acted, like, that's really good. Combat becomes better in the 3rd game.
Hang in there.
God.
Combat in the 1st game was not that good. Combat in the 2nd game was a significant improvement, and in the 3rd game, they improved it again. So combat has become better, so the action parts of it. But it's still the story and the people and the relationships between the characters in the game. That's the real strength of the series. And they really acknowledge that with the Citadel DLC, because most of it, I call it fan service. And what I mean is the fans of the game want to spend
Got a
more...
ways to go, my friend.
Like, the fans of the game want to spend more time with these characters. They want to get to know these people better because they're such interesting characters. And so, in terms of Mass Effect 3, fan service means just hanging out with the squad mates. Like what I'm doing, well, not what I'm doing now, but the idea is that you kind of talk to your squad mates and go hang out with them and play video games with them and, go to the arcade with them and go to the casino with them and go to the bar with them. So, those are the sorts of things that fans of the series want. Because that's the strength of the game, like that's what people like about the Mass Effect series. And that's not architecture. Right? Right. So, I mean, the architecture in the 1st game was okay, it wasn't that great. In the 2nd game, they improved it by, adding more variety, less cut and paste warehouses, and just, spending more time on level design. But still, it was more level design than architecture, more level design than designing good cities. More, level design than urban design, if that makes sense. Whereas, in a game like Skyrim and Morrowind, you actually have cities, you actually have urban design, as well as, level design. Actually, not so much level design, more urban design, actually, in those games. But in this game, it's more level design than, urban design. And and they just didn't do it. I mean, they obviously had a lot of time and money to do stuff, but they also did a lot of other things. I mean, they spent a lot of time, making the characters, making the models, doing the motion capture, doing the story writing, the voice acting. I mean, they did a good job on all of those things. So it's not like they're wasting their time. They're definitely spending their time on important things. But they chose not to spend it on good architecture. I mean, they make good artwork.
Don't lose it now.
They make good artwork, but it's for the sake of it's artwork. Like it's background drawings and things, not really designing meaningful buildings. So yeah, they didn't. They might not even have a real architect working on their team. Which... I mean, I can't... Obviously, me with my background, and I know enough about architecture to know that the game would be more interesting if it didn't just copy and paste everything. At the same time, if you're a game developer and you tell me, hey, I've got this much money, I know the fans want more story and more characters, they don't want more architecture. Like, we know that. We know if you're the game developer and you tell me that, then okay. I mean, I accept that. I believe that. So yeah, I don't really know what my conclusion is, to be honest. Just to point out that, to me it's quite obvious they did not prioritize architecture. And if you ask them, hey, why does Earth and Thessia and Surkesh all look the same?
Holy hell, you did it.
Oh, we did it.
I don't know what to say. How you feeling?
Might need help pulling my armor on next time.
I'm happy to help, Lola.
Don't tease a girl when she's winded.
Okay. Damn, you still got it. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Don't worry, I won't.
Right, so that's my wimpy little girl arms going to
Come
work.
on, let me just use it for a bit.
Yeah, you punch that bag, bro. You punch that bag. Yeah. Okay, so I should stop talking about that now, I guess. What are we gonna do next? So we can talk to more people, but as I said, I'm not going to record most of it. I'm just giving an indication of what the fan service is and what I mean. Basically, it's just kind of these little things where you talk to your squad mates, old and new, and hang out with them a little bit. In fact, I might not even show you anymore. I'm not going to show you the party. I'm going to have the party myself, but I'm not going to record it. So if you want to find out what that's about, you can do it yourself. I can describe it for you. Basically, you just invite all the squad mates, old and new, to your apartment, and then you get to talk to them and dance with them and stuff like that. And that's it. And that's great because that's what people want. Like, people want to hang out with their friends. Well, I mean, their imaginary friends, their fictional friends, but they want to hang out with their squad mates, right, in the game with people because that's fun. So that's a scam. I mean, all the times I've played this, I've never actually won. I believe it is meant to be a scam, and you always lose. So this is the RMAX Arena. Do I have time to play in the RMAX Arena? What time is it? Maybe I should save this for the next video. I will save it for the next video. Alright, so I'm gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna spend a lot of time in the RMAX Arena, or maybe I will. Again, I feel like I shouldn't show you all of it, because for one, it's kind of repetitive and grindy. But then, Alright, maybe I'll show you. So there's a scoreboard. Let me just show you this. So there's a scoreboard. I might just play in here until we max out the score at 9999, and then I'll stop recording, and then I'll grind by myself, and get loot by myself. But yeah, okay, we'll come back. Let me save the game. When we come back, we're going to play in the RMAX arena, and I might even just go meet my squad mates and do the party by myself right now, actually. Yeah, I might do that. I'll see you guys in the next video.